So this is my my journal from grade school, and this particular entry is from January 15th, 1991, and the title of it is "What Do I Want to Be?" It started out with a mind ready for knowledge and a great imagination. In kindergarten, I showed a promising young little boy. Then in first grade, I had suddenly become brain dead. I could imagine things greater than anybody. I just sat there all day daydreaming. The only thing that I liked having to do school was the reading class. I've pretty much always been an advanced reader. Then one day, my first grade teacher, Ms. Bueller, introduced me to dinosaurs. I was fascinated. Before I knew it, I was in love with these prehistoric, my first word over 10 letters, mites. I was in love with these prehistoric mites. I knew more than anybody in my family concerning dinosaurs. Second grade was a good year, but one thing stood out. It was during a field trip at the museum. By that time, in second grade, I had become a history fanatic. Our class was separated into groups. I was in Miss Bell's group, Mother to Rick Bell. We first headed into history type stuff. I could hardly wait. I started to tell the group what each exhibit was. I already knew most of this stuff. I was kind of like our tour guide. Well, anyways, after going through the dinosaur exhibit, there was a small corridor. It was then that Miss Bell said, "Gosh, Mike, you're a walking encyclopedia." Before that, nobody had actually said that I was smart. Most people would just think of it as mothering, but not me. I felt good inside. I had not felt that good in over a year. It's funny on how if you just give somebody a compliment, or even just recognize that somebody, it can change their whole perspective about themselves. The next day, my mom said I should become a paleontologist. I asked what that was. She told me that is a person who digs up dinosaur bones. I agreed. I then thought that this was going to be my job someday. Also that year, I wrote my first book, The Lost Crystal Caverns. In third grade, I decided to take to the skies and become an astronaut. I liked the idea of being weightless and seeing things that nobody's ever seen before. That idea seemed to fade away quickly. That same year, I got my first Lego set. It was called Space Commander. One day in fourth grade, I opened up a small drawer, and there they were, just sitting there. They was referring to 3 or 4 small 12-page books that I wrote. I was at home and had nothing to do. I just started reading them, and they were fun to read. Sure, there were spelling mistakes, but they were pretty good. Fourth grade is what I called my loner year, in quotes. I had practically no friends. That year I thought a lot, not dreaming, just thinking, what do I want to be? It was just me, my thoughts, my stories, and my music. That year I listened to music quite a bit, during homework, during work, during play. Fifth grade was an odd grade. Believe it or not, Kurt Klaas, was the reason for my next I wanna be a. I don't even know that he knew what he was doing. I looked up to Kurt. He was as basic as basic as you can call it, my hero. He was nice to me, fended for me, and looked up to me too. I suppose that is what friends are all about. I gave him advice and knowledge about whatever he wanted. Kurt was someone who made me feel good about myself and what I did. I teach him things that the teacher taught, and a whole lot more. His grades improved whenever I explained something extremely difficult and made it seem easier. His eyebrows would stop from being crunched up. He'd say, "Okay, so it works like this?" He'd then tell me how to work out the problem. I'd then say, "Yes." And he'd smile and say, "Thanks, Mikey." And I could tell that he meant it too. Just doing that gave me a sort of a high, in quotes. Then, one day after explaining something, he said, "You know, Mike, you should become a teacher." That hit me right where it counts. Not that where it counts. In the heart. I don't know why, but I actually didn't mind him saying that. So ever since that day, I've always have been and liked being Kurt's, tutor. And not only a tutor, but somebody he can trust and count on. Kurt and I enjoy working together as students and as friends. If you hadn't guessed already, I want to become a teacher. 6th grade was boring. Nothing troubled me. Nothing challenged me. 7th grade has been fairly average, and yet I'm still wondering, what do I want to be? Some good stuff.